Oh, Dawn's there. Nice. Dawn's here. Lena, Caitlin's. All right, cool. Flex the feet deeply. Place the hands on the middle of your thigh. Lift your chest up. Keep the chest lifted. Drop the shoulders as you exhale. Flex your feet. Lift your chest up again, pressing your hands into the thigh. Draw your back ribs in as you exhale. Stretch your side rib forward and your front rib up. Drop the shoulders. Keep the lifted rib cage. Keep that muscular action. Draw the elbows back slightly and in so you feel the wideness come across the top of the chest and the two collarbones are going away from each other. Move your head back slightly, lean your body back slightly so your weight is in your hips, so you feel what hip is tighter than the other. Let the eyes close for a minute. All right, here we are again, friends. So as your eyes are closed, you start breathing into the body. Tuesday, we started class with the 4th Yoga Sutra, identifying with the ego. And remember, that doesn't just pertain to removing what we consider the societal negatives of the ego, but each time we come to the practice of yoga is to identify the things we do to protect ourselves from what we don't want to have happen. Just as we, stay at home, we practice social distance to protect ourselves from viral and less pleasant things. We can even practice social distance from our own emotional self and what we've got going on mentally or physically. The things in our life that we don't like but might be too much work to change. So when we get to our yoga mat, it's a chance to kind of check in with that, especially during this time period when the expectations of being out in the world are kind of minimal. We have a little more breathing room and space. So instead of filling it with more work, let's expand it. Let's use this opportunity in our practice to remove the expectations of ego that protect us from the hard work, the busy work, and let the practice be about opening, making more space where we have a moment and time to do so. So that whatever we need to do for ourselves, we can do. And as I always like to say, are you willing to give yourself what you need so you can get what you want? So as we go through the practice tonight, my friends, be aware what comes up for you. The feelings about yourself, the feelings about the practice, the feelings about yoga, feelings about the hot and cold of your room, the feelings about what's going on in the world. And can you give yourself that time and space to recognize that those are of the ego, and maybe move them aside to see what's past that. So whatever they're protecting isn't taking up any more space in you. So even though we have social distance between each other, we have no social distance within ourselves. Bring your palms together at the chest. Let the thumbs touch the sternum. Index fingers move away from middle. Pinky moves away from ring. Keep your head lifted. Feet flexed. Back ribs in, side rib forward, front rib up. Blow them shortly 3 times. Let your elbows come back down. Down, Tristan. Thank you. Take a breath. Flex your feet. Chest lifted. bow your head for a moment. Salute the essence of yoga inside yourself. Bring your hands into the lap. Let your head rise and your eyes open. All right, so as per the normal, I'm going to try and mute everybody else. It's not me, because you know this is not about feedback yet, and we'll probably spend the last couple minutes answering questions if you need. So starting tonight, let's come to a standing position. I'm going to try my best to continue giving instructions I do in classroom, but Tristan's going to be doing the practice. So if you kind of get lost, you need a visual. She's here for you. So stand into Tadasana, please. Heels touching. Thank you. Thighs together, feet together. So when we first get started in this tonight, I want us to start working on how we release the pelvis floor and the lower back to make better forward folds and rotation of the hip. I know we're all at home, some of us working from home still, a lot of seated time. And so it's time to work the hips a little bit and I guess break up some habits, let's say. So from Tadasana, thighs together, feet together, both sides squeezing towards middle. And become aware of your feet. If you look down at your feet, is one foot turned across more than the other? Looking at Tristan's foot, her right foot is turned in more towards the left and her left is towards the right. So she needs to look down, correct that. She may not be able to see it, but because of her tight ankle, collapsed ankle. Now squeeze the feet in. Squeeze the calves in. Now keep your left leg as active as your right leg. And if you were in class Tuesday, we talked a lot about activating the four sides of the leg: the inner leg, the outer leg, the hamstring, and the front of the leg. And be aware of activating the hamstring is not tucking your groin forward or your buttocks under. The glutes flex, but only to keep lifting the buttock. So the hamstring can lift, and the hamstring flexes, lifting the buttock up. There is a natural curve to your low back we're encouraging. That's part of what makes forward folds better, is when we lift the glute. The hamstring lifts the buttock. All right. Pick your right knee up in front of you, knee the height of your hip. So we're going to work one-legged balancing for a moment. Remember, she's on film, so she's mirroring you. So please do as I say. So the right leg is active. And then for a moment, before we start to kind of work everything else, work your left leg a little more. Can you flex the quad to pick up? Remember how we do that? We press down through the big toe, push down through the pinky toe and then the center of the heel. And then pick up that hamstring of the left leg so your left buttock lifts. Your chest lifts a little bit, yeah? When your chest lifts a little bit, you get that freedom of the lower back. This is important when we go into forward folds, whether standing or seated or inverted later, to help. But keep your left leg long, take your right foot back behind you, bring your thighs together, knees together. Very good. Squeeze the thighs tight. And can you activate the right leg like the left leg? So even though the leg doesn't have anything to press into other than its neighbor, you activate the foot in the same manner. Press through your heel, your big toe, pinky toe, and then pick up the right hamstring and buttock so you feel your chest lift equally on each side. Now, even though you can't see Tristan's face, she has focused dedication, not smiling. Good. Take the right knee out in front of you. Take your right ankle across your left thigh. So modified Vrksasana tree pose. When you take the right ankle across your thigh, try not to push the knee back because that will twist your hips left to right in a too much of a rotation. You place your hands on your hips. The right hip should be equal to and left height to your left hip. So her right hip is higher than her left, so she has to draw the femur bone and hip down and rotate it forward so they're equal. And then she has to work the left leg again, just like all of you. So first, check to make sure your left to right hip is more or less equal. You have to use your own visibility. I can't be there to point you out. Some of you I can see. And then your left leg, it's easy to lock the knee and disengage the leg. So push your left thigh into your foot, push your foot against the thigh. So you can lift the left buttock. There you go. You can lift the left buttock and engage the leg. So now your leg's really working. You can't see your face. Absolute stoicism. All right, exhale, come down. Great, feet together. We'll do this again. We're going to go through it a couple times. That's kind talk for if your hamstrings are cramping, she's happy for you. All right, thighs together. Re-engage the legs. Push down through the big toe, pinky toe, and heel on each foot, and let the hamstring lift the buttock. So you have to engage the lower abdominis. Very good. Nice to see everybody. Now, left knee up. Left knee the height of your hip, straight in front of you. And so when you lift it up, again, be aware of first the right leg. What disengaged? Did the front thigh disengage? Did the outer thigh, the inner thigh? Or did you start to tuck the buttock too much in the groin because your hip is tight, your back is tight? Push through the right big toe, right pinky toe, right center of the heel, and lift the right buttock up. So your core muscles lift your spine. Then you can really see how tight a hip is. So Tristan's left hip's a little tighter than her right now, so it's a little higher. There she's, yeah. So you got to use your hands on your hips to start kind of developing that information with your body. You won't always have a teacher there to catch you in class and do it. So you got to develop your own teacher focus. Keep the right leg, move the left foot back behind you, thighs together. So the left leg can meet its neighbor, the right leg, squeeze in tight. And then even though there's nothing for the foot to press into, press the big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel back. So you're actively engaging the muscles to push through the foot as if there was something to press into. Your knees stay together. But then pick up the buttock. Right? You're not tilting your pelvis forward. It's not, sticking your butt out like you're twerking. But you're actively engaging the hamstring to lift the glutes. So when the glutes flex, it's not the tuck of the groin. This is what teaches the abdominal muscles to lift the spine. This is part of the decompression of lower back that can be very beneficial in seated poses. Nice. Take the left foot out front, left ankle across right thigh. Modified tree pose. Again, it's really easy to begin to lock the standing leg knee. So everybody bend your right knee a little bit and push your right thigh into your left ankle and your left ankle into your right thigh. Start getting some stabilizing resistance. And then hands on the hips. Which hand is higher than the other? Feel it out. Which hip bone feels higher than the other? Probably going to be the left for a lot of us. So that thigh has to drag down and that hip has to come forward. So that thigh bone has to do the work. The muscle of the hip and groin has to do the work. Very good. And then work your right leg. Can you push down through the big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel? And it's not passive. You're not just kind of leaning your weight into it. Can you be very active in your intent to push through those points? It's easy to let gravity do the work. It's more of a challenge to actively stay engaged so you keep your leg engaged. But it makes a difference. Your chest lifts up a little easier. Your hamstring works harder. Interesting. Stoic face. Like a marble statue. All right, take a nice deep breath, everybody. Exhale. I didn't say come out. I just said exhale. Some of you are holding your breath. I can tell even here. All right, come on out. Good job, everyone. Feet together, thighs together. So we'll go through those three again, but then we'll add to it. Thighs together, feet together. Actively press through each big toe, each pinky toe, each center of heel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Tuesday's class will be loaded up on YouTube here pretty soon. We're figuring out some stuff. You can do that lesson that leads into this. Pick up your right knee again, knee in front of you. So we're going to go through the cycle of three again. So the right knee lifted, work the left leg. Lift the left buttock up, not tucking, it's the other way. There you go. Right ankle across the left thigh. So right to tree pose. I know I skipped one, trust me. So here you've got the hip opening, push your left thigh into your right ankle, work the left foot, keep your left leg this active. Pick your left knee, or keep your left leg this active. Pick your right knee up in front of you. Now move the leg back so the foot is behind you, trying to touch the world behind you, and your right thigh comes to left. Nice. Now from here, we're going to challenge how you get into tree pose, full tree pose. Traditionally, you bend over, you pick up the foot, and you pull it to your groin. That's fine, but you know, I'm not here for fun. From here, turn your right knee out to the side and pull the heel up on your own strength and push the foot into the thigh. It's very hard to do, but by moving the leg back like that, keeping that leg fired correctly and learning to lift, you start to develop the leg strength to keep your spine lifted. This is very important to the stability, especially if you get into inversions and you feel like your back crunches or you're really unbalanced in your lower back. This leg action is very, very stabilizing. So again, same work. Right hip to left hip. What's even? The right hip's higher, the right thigh has to drag down and not push the hip back, but the right thigh stretches down and away from you. So you rotate the pelvis. Very nice, everybody. Come on, Elise, don't drop out. Remember, use props at home. If you got a chair or couch, a wall for balance, use what you got to use. I appreciate the dedication that everyone's here. 20 of you showed up for this, but you know, you got a little freedom to get some extra props. All right, very nice. Bring the legs down. Well done. Thighs together, feet together. Let's go through it on this other side. And we'll add to it. Actively push through big toe, pinky toe, center of heel. Lift the buttocks from the hamstring. If you haven't noticed, every time Tristan does this, her spine picks up a little bit. Pick your left knee up in front of you. Very good. So you get that leg active, check in with your right leg already. Which part did you actively stop pressing through? Reactivate them. And untuck the groin by picking up the hamstring so the back bottom buttock lifts. There you go. So that leg burns. Left ankle crosses right thigh. Warm it up, get used to the rotation. Find the balance in your hips for a moment. Stretch the quad down to rebalance the hip. Don't press the hip back. The hip actually comes forward. So your pelvis is equal, not just laterally, but in depth. Good. Push your right thigh into your left ankle. Push your left ankle into your right thigh. So both sides are active now. And now keep that right leg. It is strong. Pick your left leg up and move it back behind you. Try not to lose the right leg. Keep the active work. If you want your arms up, that's okay. I appreciate the next steps. Push through the back toes, even though they have nothing to press into. Be active in the direction you're moving your body. Just because you're not impacting anything doesn't mean you aren't putting out effort, force, and action. All right. Right leg active, that knee slightly bent, so like that right thigh is pushing forward. Left leg, don't pull the knee up. Rotate the knee like as it's hanging down out, so the foot comes behind the calf first and then pulls up the thigh. So you start trying to do it without your hand. Very nice. Push the thigh into the calf, calf into the thigh. Did you walk your right knee? Soften the knee. So it's the same softness of the leg pressing into the ankle in the modified version. But the leg is very strong. Lift the buttocks. Shake like a leaf in the wind. Stretch the thigh, not back, but down laterally towards the floor. And then make sure one hip is not twisted back farther than the other. Like Tristan's got her left hip way far back. There you go. Hold for a second, take a couple breaths. Woo. Unlock the right knees. Actively press through the right foot. Big toe, pinky toe joint, center of the heel. Exhale. Come on out. Feet together. Nicely done, everybody. Tadasana. All right, here we go. So we're going to add to it again. Pick your right knee up in front of you. If your feet start getting tired, right about now, we've been about 20 minutes into this, and the muscles of the foot are starting to work on the lift. It's very involved in the hamstring and pelvis. Ready? No, good answer. Right knee up in front of you, work the left leg. Cat's making an appearance, it's very sweet. Right ankle over left thigh. We're gonna move through these a little bit faster. Pick your right knee up, move your right foot back behind you, thighs together. Big toe, pinky toe, heel on both feet, pressing in their respective directions. Buttocks lifting from the hamstring. Keep the knee hanging down, rotate the right thigh externally out, that way, away from your body. So you work towards tree pose, pull the heel up on its own strength. So you feel that hamstring work. Every time you do this, you'll start to find your foot will get a little higher. Find the balance of the hip. So now that the pelvis is open, now that the legs are active, now we can begin to work a forward fold. Huh? Yeah, like you can't see her face, but she has this quizzical look. Now you're going to use your hand. Left hand reaches down, grabs your left ankle, and pulls the foot in front of the thigh and up the thigh higher. But the knee still descends. I would like the knee to stay descending. Even though the right foot has nothing to press into, press your left thigh into your foot. There you go. Push through your right heel, your right big toe, your right pinky toe. Push through your left big toe, left pinky toe, center of the heel. Or great toe, fifth toe, and heel. Fold forward and take your right hand onto the floor. Work your left and right leg as strong as you can. You can hold on to the foot up on your thigh as much as you want, or you can bring your hand down if the foot stays in place. We're going to do this a few times because I find practicing the standing will give you lots of help when we go seated. So when you're here, shaking like a leaf, hopefully, if your left knee has to bend, that's okay, but don't let that mean you're just kind of dropping your hips back. If your left knee has to bend because your hamstring is tight, flex your left thigh and push your left thigh into your right ankle. Push your left big toe down, left pinky toe joint down. Be active in the direction you're working so you feel it. And then on your right foot, push your right ankle into the left thigh and push through the center of your right heel, your right big toe, and your right pinky toe. Be active in the whole leg. So even though the leg doesn't have earth to press into, the energetic action, the muscular action is there because of how it opens the hip and releases the back. Are we aware? You don't have to answer at home, but you know, you play along. It's like the old board games they used to sell for the TV shows. Like there's some of you probably have a bingo card. Is Dustin going to say it in this class? Right? Are you aware? I'm happy for you. All right. Bend your left knee so your hips sit back a little. Use one hand to help slide the foot down and stand on up. Nicely done. Thighs together, feet together, everybody. Good. Awesome. Left knee up. Let's move on. So the left knee just in front of your hip. There you go. So with your left knee up, actively push through the right leg, the big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel. Unlock the right knee, lift the right buttock. Ankle across the thigh to the modified tree, Vrikasana. Stretch the thigh down and try not to twist your hips. Push the ankle into the thigh, thigh into the ankle on that right leg. It's going to be important to stabilize your body. Pick the knee up, slide it back, keep that right leg active. Keep it pushing forward as if there was an ankle to press into. So you can keep the strength of the leg pressing down through the floor. Very good. Take a couple breaths. Keep the knee pointing down. Rotate the femur bone and then pull it out, pull the heel up. Nicely done. Good balance. Pretty good. Push the foot into the thigh, thigh into the foot. Unlock the right knee. Is the right thigh still active as if there was an ankle to press into in front of it? Pick up the buttock so you untuck your groin. Nicely, good catch. All right, here comes the fun part. Take your right hand down, grab your ankle, pull the ankle across first and then up to whatever degree. It may not come very high, but let the knee go down. You pull it across first to change the pelvic muscles that are working. You pull it up to challenge the pelvic and the hip joint. Once you're there, keep that right knee softly bent. Push the ankle, thigh, thigh into ankle. Push through the right big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel, and then slowly come down, best you can. Good use of a chair. Nice. I like some of your modifying. I'd love to see that. Good. Once you're down on the ground, whatever degree, hands on blocks, hands on chairs, hands on pets. Right? We make do with what we got. Feel what's going on in your leg. As your right foot stop pressing down through the floor. Big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel. The knee can bend slightly, that's okay, but actively press the right thigh into the foot in front of it, the left foot. Actively press the left foot into the right thigh. And then think about pushing through your left big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel, so there's action in that leg. Because when we're sitting down, if we become passive in the legs, we will be passive in the spine. We must be active in the spine, active in the legs to be active in the spine. Right, like I said, this is closing the social distancing gap with our own body. We don't disconnect the two and keep them apart. We connect them all together. And hold. Take a couple breaths. I would like for everyone to bend their right knee a little bit, set their hips back, slide their foot down using their hand to guide the foot out of the pose. Stand on up. Very good. Not time for questions yet, so we move on. Step forward a couple inches more. All right. Thighs together, feet together, Tadasana. Heels touching. Actively push down through big toe, pinky toe, heel. Stretch both arms straight up, Urdhva Hastasana. So both arms straight up into the air. Palms facing in. Try to line up the inner bicep right here with the back side of your ear. Do not bring your head forward to cheat this. Move your head back with your spine. Move the inner arm in line with the back side of your ear and hold it there. Too much, Tristan. Bend your knees a little. When you bend your knees, do not let your knees come forward, but keep your knees bending, but move your hips back. So you're sitting into an invisible chair. Bend your knees deeper. So Uttanasana. Start to slowly bend down in the pose. This is not a rush. But as you bend down, notice which knee bends deeper than the other. Like on Tristan, her right knee bends deeper than her left knee. Her knees are coming uneven, so she needs to look down. Look at your knees for a minute, everybody. What knee's coming farther forward? Move that hip back. Even it out. Squeeze it in. Then start to slowly descend, because that's where you're going to find the unevenness in the foot, unevenness in the spine. Pause. Push down through your big toe, pinky toe, heel, so the legs almost feel like they want to lift you, but then bend the knee again. Keep it a soft joint so you can descend. Now pick your head back up. line your inner bicep, right here, the inner part, right before the wiggly stuff, back with that inner ear. Heart up, head up, sit your hips back. There you go. So you're folding at a deeper crease here in the pelvis, so that your challenge is the hamstring to keep you lifted and then pick your spine up off of your thighs from your core muscle. Move the arms back. Very good. Nice. Stand up all the way. Back to Tadasana. Bring the arms down. All right. Pick up your right knee in front of you, everybody. Right ankle crosses left thigh. Use your left hand to pick up the leg. Pull it up to your hip. Or left hand to pick up the right foot. Point the foot. Keep it pointed. I didn't say point. Actively push through the center heel on its own strength. That thigh is active, creating that extension. Big toe, pinky toe. Now, fold forward, take your hand to the floor again or onto your chair, whatever prop device you're using. You can take both hands to the floor, that's fine, or you can have a hand hold the foot the whole time. So from here, what we're going to do is challenge the hip a little bit differently. You're going to bend your left knee, but when you bend your left knee, you have to actively press the foot into the thigh and the thigh into the foot. The two parts work against each other to create some balancing in the hip, because the big part of this will not just be your strength, but your balance. Bend your left knee deeper, like you're doing half Uttanasana, so you're one-legging it. Big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel. Actively pushing right ankle, left thigh into ankle. Look out into the world in front of you. And then here's the challenge. I'm not going to make you stretch your arms out yet. Take your left hand to your left hip. Hold. So you pick your spine up. Not too bad. Great. Left hand down. Right hand to right hip. Stretch the chest out. Guess what? Both hands. Try it. Oh, she went for both arms out. I was going to say hands on the hip. Keep going. A few more seconds, everybody. Both hands on your hips. And if you want to try and stretch both arms out, go for it. Nice, Rash. Nice. Bend that left knee. Set those hips into the pose.
You did it.
I know. All right. Exhale. Out you go, everybody. Good. Remember, you work at your level. The more time you spend at a stage of a pose, kind of learning how your different body parts work together, the more comfortable you're going to get with this. A lot of the thing that holds back yoga poses is not just the idea of my hamstrings are tight or my back is bad or I'm weak, but it's a fear thing. It's an unknown thing. You know, back on the old nautical maps, there used to be the sections like, you know, of the ocean we didn't know where things were. It's like it was just all kind of colored in, and there'd be dragons and it says here there be monsters. We have that inside ourselves. We're just trying to clear the map up. All right, enough pontificating. Thighs together. Take your left knee up. Left knee up in front. Left ankle crosses right thigh. Right hand reaches down, grabs left ankle, pulls it up. Point the foot actively, very good. Push the thigh into the ankle, ankle into the thigh. Bend the right knee, start to soften the knee, activating the egg. So the ankle can push in the thigh, thigh into the ankle. And then instead of starting to fold at the hips and pull your spine forward, your chest forward, when you bend your right knee, move your hips back and actively push through that right foot. Don't think you forgot about that. That big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel is active in the pose. Come forward, take your hands to the floor or hands. So here you are. Take this moment in the forward fold to reestablish the legs. Can your left ankle or left arm, excuse me, yes, left ankle push into the right thigh push into the ankle. Can you keep that active and true so that your pelvis across the top is stable? That stability of your pelvis frees your spine up. It makes it so you can flex backwards into Uttanasana or go deeper in forward folds. And then you start going deeper. Slowly begin to bend the knee. And remember, you're looking right at your right knee. If your right knee starts to shake left or right, keep it centered with your foot and move the hip back like the femur bone is pulling into the hip socket. Go a little deeper. Look out into the world in front of you. All right, here we go. Right hand on the right hip. Let's see some magic. Nice use of chair, Sita. Nice. Switch hands. Left hand on left hip. Look out. If you feel your foot starting to wobble, that means you're actively not using your power to press through it. You're starting to straighten your leg. Both hands, both hips, try it. Woo! It's okay, I'm not very good at that one either, but I practice it a lot. A few more seconds, 3, 2, exhale, out you go. Very nice, everybody. Take a moment and grab a blanket if you have one. If you don't, a bolster. You can use couch cushions, thick pillows. Yeah, bolster would be good. You can lay the bolster or the bolster folded blanket lengthways so you can sit on the narrow end. Give you all a chance, give you about 30 seconds to get that put together. Puppy intermission. All right, almost there. Should we go on, Enzo? All right, Doug says we're ready. So seated on the end of your blanket, bolster, couch cushion, block, anything you have at home just to give some elevation to your hips. Stretch both legs out straight. Take your fingertips back behind you or your hands back behind you onto your bolster and get some lift to the chest. So Dandasana, one of the more basic seated poses in yoga. Final lift. So here is a chance to practice activating the legs in the same way. The big difference is the depression of gravity on the spine and pelvis and how easy it is to be passive in the legs. So we'll practice some active in the legs before we move on to the next hip opener. So from here, it's not about can you press your knees down, but can you press your thud? Remember your thud. There's your thigh, there's your butt, your thud's that space, that shelf in between. Can you press your thud down into the bolster? So that's going to mean activating the upper thigh deeply and pushing the bone back and down. Not pushing your knee. If you feel like you want to have something lower on the leg to push into, try to stretch your Achilles tendon down to the floor instead of your knee joint. That'll make your leg work, right? Mm-hmm. Right. Get the lift of the spine. First, use the hands, and then try to float the hands up and only use the legs. And keep the legs. And notice the minute you take your hands up, the legs kind of want to disengage. You have to really keep them fired, pushing that thud down to start training the pelvis to lift. Forward folds do not come from the spine rounding first and then the pelvis. It should come from the pelvis moving and then the spine following. And the pelvis will only move when the legs are active. Safely, I should say. Because the rest of it goes into your low back and causes sciatica and no one's happy. Very good. All right. Let's work a little more. Reach forward, grab your big toes. If you cannot grab your big toes with your hands, use a strap, use a towel, use a belt. Pet snake. No pet snake, ever. No, you're fine. So when holding onto the big toe, use the index and middle finger to hook the big toe from the inside, and then push the foot against the hand a little bit. So there's an active pressing from the big toe bone through the foot. So there's an engagement of that inner arch, but but you notice the Achilles tendon doesn't shorten. This is overextended. This is long and active. So push through that big toe and then pull your spine up and notice how your legs have disengaged. Push your big toe into your fingers, stretch your pinky toes towards your fingers or towards forward, towards away from you, excuse me. And then even stretch through the heel, like you're going to get your Achilles tendons down. And your legs, if you push your thigh into the bolster at the same time, like you're going to lift the buttock, is going to be shaking or active. She says yes. So that's the active legs and forward fold. Anything from this point becomes how we want to open or modify the hip or the lower back. Going down in this pose, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, is really secondary to can you keep your legs active to learn how to fold deeper in the crease of the pelvis. Great. Exhale, come on up. Keep your left leg as it is. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh as close as you can get to the hip joint. Point the foot. Point the foot. Don't apologize, just do the pose. So once you're there, and I want your ankle bone centered on the thicker part of the thigh. Do not let the foot slide to the inner groin. Do not let the foot hang out on the outer part. And bony ankle joint, right where it's going to hurt, right on the thick part of the bone, or the thick part of the leg. So now with that, can you flex your left leg in the same way? But fun thing is now your right ankle is going to support you like the way the standing poses did. Can you flex your left thigh and push it up into your ankle a little bit and push your ankle into your thigh, not pushing the knee down. To be very clear, this knee is to not push down. It will go down as it gets mobile. If you push your knee down, we'll get cranky. I want you to actively flex the leg and push this down on the thigh. And you'll feel your back have to shift. Your spine has to kind of sit up to do that. That is the lift of the pelvis and the thigh. Left foot. Press your left foot down. Reach forward, grab your left big toe with your right hand. If you cannot reach, strap, snake, belt, towel, very long pet. Do whatever you got to do to hook something. Now the other hand reaches for it also. It's not do that. Now, pull and lift your spine up. So you're going for that spinal column frontal lift. And don't just try to pick up the chest. Think about the spine and go 1 inch in front of it. So the spine, the bony protrusion on the back, go 1 inch in front of that and pick that up. And then reactivate your legs, ankle, thigh, thigh to ankle. Are we aware? What are you aware of? Share with the class.
My Achilles tendons.
Yeah, her Achilles on her left leg is screaming because when you engage the leg like this, it lengthens the whole side of the leg. That's good stuff.
And my outer right.
Outer right knee. Okay. If your outer right knee is really talking to you, you can prop it up. Some knee stretches to be anticipated. This is why you don't want to push it down. But of course, if you're having an immense amount of knee pain. Better? Yeah. Better. Don't force it. All right. When you go down into this, I want you to push the thigh into the ankle, ankle into the thigh, and then bend your elbows wide. So you're picking the abdominals up over that foot and stretching your belly button over your right ankle. And then your whole upper back lengthens into the pose. But if your chest comes down towards that foot, you've gone too far. Your pelvis has stopped moving. So you've got to re-lift your chest up. And only until the belly comes over that ankle are you really ready to go down. So you've got kind of a marker where you feel yourself shrink on the front. That's when you've gone too far. You have to re-lift and extend and hold there. It will open up. You may not feel an immense amount of stretch, but you're training your legs to lift and support the release of the spine.
And if you're watching, my arms are shaking, my foot is shaking.
How honest?
Well,
Come on up. Switch your legs out. Now, in later forms of the practice, there is a little bit more passiveness to this. You don't have to fight or push as hard. But I find that if you just passively try to forward bend all the time, it can cause a lot of back issues and pain. We have to teach good endurance, balance, strength, and range of motion to these muscles. And then the flexibility just to lay into it will come. It does happen, I promise. But it doesn't come just like, you know, throwing yourself into it and praying nothing breaks. Right? That doesn't help fear. So left ankle up on right thigh, ankle centered on the thigh pressing down, right thigh pressing up into the foot. So you get that same spinal lift. Right? Reach forward, grab your foot. Work your right thigh. Work from working your right foot. Push your right big toe into the hand. Push the pinky toe away from you. Push the center of the heel away from you. So you get that active leg. And then push your thigh up into your ankle to help your hamstring. Pull your spine outwards. Pull your stomach over the foot. Any degree, even if you're sitting almost perfectly straight up and you're pulling on a strap, you still pull up and move the abdomen first. So the pelvis has to do the rolling. And as you can see, Tristan is already starting to move her elbows into it. That's okay. She's experimenting. That's good. So be aware of when you start to go down, the minute you feel your ribs shrink towards the stomach, you've lost it. And you should relift. Okay, back in it. Relift it. Do it in the butt. And it's very easy to do that because when our ribs shrink down into our abdomen, it's pushing all of our body weight out into our back spine. Not healthy at all. And you work from here and you find that place where you can maintain the good balance of it so the two parts, the resistance, eventually melts away. It's a good term for it. Resistance melts. You can't break the resistance of the tightness of your body. You have to be patient and let it warm up. Right? You pull ice cream out of the freezer, you don't just start jamming at it with an ice pick, unless you're really impatient like me. You let it sit out for like 10 minutes, right? Yeah, it melts. It melts away the resistance. You get what you want. Ice cream sounds great though. All right, take a couple breaths. Very nice, everybody. I'm keeping an eye on the class. Up you go. Well done. Good. Stretch your legs out. All right, both legs straight. Dandasana for a moment. So you're going to, from both legs being straight, bend your right knee, pull your knee close to your chest. You're going to take your left hand, grab your right foot, right about the heel. Right hand holds the knee and pull the shin close to the chest. If you can wrap the right arm around the knee, as Tristan's demonstrating, go for it. You might even be able to wrap the elbow around the foot. It's very hard to do for some people. I like this pose a lot. So. But if you just even here where you're picking the shin up a little bit, keeping the foot flexed, and then pulling it close, this rotation that Tristan's demonstrating from the hip will happen. We've worked on that a lot, actually, so it might be happening easier for some of you than maybe before if you've done this pose. But what we are going to pick on, not pick on, right? Teachers don't pick on, they critique lovingly, because a good teacher is never satisfied. As you see, the alignment of her shin to her thigh is kind of deeply bent. It's more than a 90. So what I would like Tristan to do, and you can kind of stop, put it back. I'm not done. You can see in her shoulders, or she might feel in her shoulders, is one shoulder is deeply descended. That means that side of her spine is curved and depressing. She has to actively push the foot into the arm and lift the shin up. Look at that smile. That's the smile of someone who is now alive. So it's less important how deep you pull the shin to your chest, but can you keep more of a 90-degree action here and learn to rotate into that so neither side of your spine is compressing to do the pose. This is more important than how close it gets to your chest. And I like to actively push the leg into the arm, like that foot is trying to push against that arm as deep as it can. Even if it's only by hand, that foot pushes across. Are we aware? Good, well then get back in the place. And we hold. We're gonna hold this for a minute. We're gonna try some forward folds with it and stuff like that. But for this, just get this lift and get the activeness of the leg. Can you push through the big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel into the pose? So the leg isn't just passive. Remember what I said, your spine releases when your legs are active to create the lift, even in a position like this. That's very important, just like in Rajapichitasana, pigeon pose. Hold the leg, keep it up, lean forward, stretch forward as best you can. I'll get out of the way. See that knee that's going down, it's got to lift. You can tell in your shoulders if one shoulder's hanging. Keep the foot flexed, but push through those toes, push through the heel into the arm. Now she's alive.
Murdering my mid.
Murdering her mid-back, she says. It's on film.
Yeah.
This is going to be like, what is that? Unsolved murder. Totally solved. Murdered her mid-back. All right, stretch your legs out. Well done. Pick up your left foot. Pull the foot in. Grab it with your hands, or if you want to do the wraparound, do the wraparound. Same thing we just did. Flex the foot, but push the foot into the arm. The big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel is active, so that arm has to resist something, not just the weight of the leg, but the power of it, and then move the shin to parallel. So one side of your spine is not overcompensating. That side's tight, huh? So she can't get her arm around that. That's okay. But she's going to work to keep that shin parallel, aren't you? Move the knee out this way a little bit. Now pick it up. There you go. The knee should be to the outside of the shoulder in most cases. It's not way out there in a comical form, but the knee is not directly in line with the hip joint. It's to the outside. Reach around, try to grab it. So you can do it better. So she's got a nice parallel shin. Her shoulders are parallel, collarbones are parallel. That's where your spine wants to be. Is equal action on each side. This is what makes your back burn in this pose, is the back muscles are having to lift and change from leaning to one side to the other. If you're like me and lean onto your armrest in your car or at your computer desk, reaching for the mouse, keyboard, or not lined up, this is going to work against a lot of that. Yes.
This is less difficult to keep my leg up and my back doesn't.
Well, you're also twisted. It's always something. So she was twisted away from the camera. Now she's in it. Now she feels it. So that's, again, just like in tree pose. Check your pelvis. Is your pelvis more or less equal on your surface of your you're sitting on? This is why I personally do this on yoga blocks. I like the firmness of the block to tell where I am, but not everyone might have yoga blocks. I highly recommend you go and get some on Amazon. Cork or wood. Don't buy foam. Foam is garbage. Yeah, that's right. It's on record now. All right, lean forward. But keep that chin not hard into the chest, but lifted. So it's that paralleled action. Leg is active, pressing into the arm. Big toe, pinky toe, heel. Lean forward. Feels so nice. So nice. Take a couple breaths. Come on out. Good job, everybody. All right, ready for the big finale? The Arjunasana. So you're going to start with both legs straightened in Dasana. You're going to bend your right knee, pulling your right knee towards your chest. Right hand grabs the outer part of your right foot on the inside. So the arm goes to the inside of the leg, grabs the outer part of the foot. So you see, Tristan's already picked the foot up like I was demoing. Do not do this. Bring your foot down. Left hand grabs your left big toe. If you cannot hold your left big toe with your hand, strap, belt, towel, whatever you got to do. So you stay in this forward action with the left arm. She's doing good, but pick your chest up. The spine is very lifted. The hips will move on this. Now we are moving away from perfectly parallel hips to rotated hips. the right hip will move back deeply on this pose. So from here, pick up the right foot in front of you and try not to lean. It's going to be hard. Pull the right knee back like you're drawing the an arrow on a bow. All right, let me borrow this space. So she's asking for some demo help. I'm gladly help. All right. So from here, left hand holds big toe, right hand holds the foot, chest up, pick up the foot, pull back. Your hip twists, and you pick up the spine, and then over time, the foot touches the air like you're answering a phone call. And then you reset. All right. So stretch your legs out. Let's do left side. We're going to do this a couple times. Don't worry. You're going to get your full work, I promise. And besides, this is going to get put on YouTube. You can watch this as much as you want and cringe at me. Oh, good. We're on YouTube now. Reach forward. Right hand grabs right big toe. Bend the left knee. Left hand goes to the inside of the leg and grabs the outside of your left foot. So again, left knee, arm to the inside of the leg, grabs the foot. Hold on with your right big toe. Pull up on the chest. You've been working this. And so even before you fully go, take a minute and check in with all the other work you've done. Push your foot into your hand. Right big toe, pinky toe, center of the heel. Push your thumb into the bolster. It's all that work you've been building on. Then pick up your left foot in front of you. And even if you pause right there, you even start to float the foot up. You're in the pose. And then use the arm strength, bend the elbow, and pull the leg back. So you're going to twist. The left hip will twist with it. Very nice. Do the best you can. Shake like a leaf, fall, wobble. Have some fun. Couple seconds. Exhale, out you go. Ready for the other side? This is meant to challenge. I want to give you all a challenge you could work on at home. Hold forward, left hand grabs left big toe. Or right hand. Yeah, bend the knee, I'm sorry. Left hand grabs left big toe, bend your right knee. Right foot flat to the floor. Grab your big toe, please. Right arm inside of the leg, as Tristan's doing, grabbing the outside of the foot. Pick the spine up. Before you even start to pick up the foot, start to twist a little bit. Pull that hip back. Start to set your pelvis and then pick up the foot. And the foot just isn't picked up on your arm. Push the foot against the hand against the foot. It's all this resistance. And then pull the arm back into the knee. Lovely. Pick the foot up higher and hold. A few seconds. Lifting the spine, letting it twist. Nicely done. Nice, everybody. See some people doing some good work. Try to get the foot near your ear, right? Answer the call. Yoga is calling. All right, exhale, out you go. Let's do the other leg. Bend your left knee. She's catching me in my own sequence. Right hand grabs right big toe. Left arm on the inside of the leg, but grabs the outer part of the foot. Start the twist. Start to roll the left hip back. Start to twist the body. Pick the foot up. Pull the arm into the action. Try not to let the foot hang. Try to lift it so the shin is more parallel to the floor. It's very similar to the pose we did where the shin was across the chest. Actively push the right foot into the right hand. Actively push your left foot into your left hand. So no part is passive in this. You want your spine to lift. You want the rotation. You want that mobility of the hip. Keep the things active. Doing great. Everyone's doing good. Take a few more seconds. Hold the pose. Breathe into it. Exhale, out you go. So now you would take Savasana. I'm not going to keep you all for that. You can do your practice of that at home. I suggest propping your legs up on something to bolster your hip. But I'm going to take a couple minutes now to for questions. So if you want to, if you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself. Ask. Do what we can to answer it. Great.
myself. Can you
Yeah.
hear me, Dustin? Yeah.
I can hear you. Karen.
Oh, okay. Very difficult in the tree pose to lift up the leg higher than just above the knee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Start there and just keep trying, right?
Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of a process of learning to pick the leg up from the hamstring instead of it from being your hip lifting and off twisting your pelvis. Again,
Okay.
it's very important to not keep it making happening from here, but when you lift that leg and pick it up, it's either pick it up from the hip or we learn to pick it up from the hamstring and get it there. And your hamstring will cramp.
So
What's
if I do that, there's just so much I can come up before I have to lift the hip up. So
Right.
I respect that, right?
Yeah.
The other thing was, of course, in the crossover position, the leg keeps slipping. So I just use the hand, right? Keep my hand, right?
Yes.
Okay. And there was another question I had about in the seated position. Well, you gave me the hint with the brick under there, because without it, it hurt too much in the hip. And we just keep as much pulling up and over the leg as possible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all my questions I have. Thank you.
Good practice. Well done.
I have a question.
Yes. Hi, Caitlin.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Hope you're doing well. How do you prevent from hyperextending in the knee in Dandasana fold?
It took me a while to get that one myself. Like I said before, I tried to press my Achilles tendon down instead of my knee. I almost let my knee float up a little bit when I do that, and then press instead of the center of the leg, which would be the knee. I press the heel, the Achilles tendon area, and the thigh itself down. And over time, you learn to catch that knee hardening, very similar to the way that you catch a muscle not flexing, right? It does just take some time. What you can do to help that is to practice with a blanket under your knees, not to push your knees up, but to feel when you're pushing down so it catches you, right? It's like a little internal buzzer goes off. You shouldn't feel anything in your knees. So if you feel the blanket touch, the knee touch the blanket, lift it up. It's more important to keep that lifted knee, the softness of that knee, than how deep you push the leg down. Because if you work from the knee, you're only going to damage your knee over time.
Thank you.
One more question, Dustin.
Hold on. Tristan was filling in. Speak up.
Well, I can't hear you.
Get closer.
Gut muscles. It can actually be a check, Caitlin, to see if you're engaging your Achilles tendon and your or the muscles around your Achilles tendon and your foot. Because if you're engaging them, your knee can't help but soften.
Okay.
And if it's not softening, then you're not engaging those muscles. You're pressing your knee.
Which muscles were they, Tristan? The Achilles tendon and the calf muscle?
The muscles around your Achilles tendon that Dustin was saying to lower to the floor, and then like engaging those muscles around your foot. If you're really engaging those, your knee will soften. And if your knee isn't softening, then you're not engaging both of those muscles.
Okay.
So it can be a good check as well as a protection.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. You had another question, Karen?
Yeah, in the standing folds, I kept feeling like the arches of my feet were collapsing, even though I was desperately trying to press the big toe, the little pinky.
So what you can do to strengthen your arch is go stand with your back to the wall. If you watch Tristan for half a second here, move that bolster. So here's how I was teaching my feet to do this. I would stand with my back to a wall. I would use my hands against the wall to balance myself. I would pick both heels up off the floor, and I would just press my big toe bones down so fucking hard, and then I would stretch my heels back and down at the same time, kind of like in down dog, but I would give myself an arch cramp, or big toe on your left foot's coming up. So it's not pressing the big toe joint down, it's the big toe itself.
Yeah, that's the problem. I learned it the other way. I learned pressing that big toe joint.
Don't press, the big toe joint is only going to teach your arches to roll in. Press the big toe bone, the big toe itself down to keep it learn the arch to live.
So you don't think my hips are collapsing down, are they?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, it's changing that thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? No?
So
Everyone's happy?
We're
Yes,
good.
Fatima.
the toe that you were talking about, that's the same action that you were teaching on Tuesday, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Everything I've taught today is like a part 2.1 from Tuesday.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying, the whole toe, not just the first.
The whole toe. Like we need to get out of like this, need to use this whole toe, especially this point. So there's two joints that connect the big toe. There's the big toe joint, metatarsal, and then the first joint. That bone right there, the middle bone, you learn to press that into the floor, you will change the whole arch of your foot and ankle over time.
Oh yeah, I can feel
There you
it.
go.
Okay, I gotta work on that. Weak feet.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right. Namaste, everybody. Have a good night. Good week. I'll be back next Tuesday for the 2-hour class. Tristan will be here. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Namaste.